Welcome to Fraud Friday. I'm Bob Coleman. Today we're talking about Blueacorn Stephanie Hockridge, convicted in June of PPP SBA loan fraud. She was acquitted, though, of 4 counts of wire fraud. Her scheduled sentence was for today, but it's been postponed to November. And the reason why is both sides are haggling over the amount of the fraud. That will determine how much she receives in a prison sentence. I don't have access to what they call a pre-sentencing report, but the government is looking for an enhancement of 51 to 63 months. In other words, 4 to 5 years above and beyond what she was convicted for on her specific wire fraud charges. The lower the amount of the fraud, the lower jail time. So that's what they're hanging over. She will be going to jail on a fraud that the government is saying is $65 million. Nathan Reese, her husband, who previously pled guilty to similar charges, called his wife, quote, the keys to the kingdom. When he brought in new partners into the business, this is what he said. She knew how the PPP system worked, how to structure the numbers, how to push a loan through, and how to get the money. The U.S. attorney told the jury that Stephanie Hockridge wasn't guessing her way through the PPP loan program. She was exploiting it from precision. This report is from the U.S. attorney's opening statements, which provided a nice summary of what exactly of the fraud that she committed, and because of her guilty plea, we can affirmatively state that. The company started in 2020, right when COVID hit, and that horrible time we all experienced. They formed the fintech company called Blueacorn. On paper, this was a provider that would match the borrower with the lender. The lenders were using this for them to process the loans, do all the due diligence that the lender should be doing, but they did this on an outsourced basis. The fees that Blueacorn received were over $1 billion. So we're talking significant dollars and significant impact on the integrity of the PPP program. On paper, Blueacorn helped small business apply for PPP loans. In practice, says the prosecutor, Ms. Carr, it became a pipeline for false applications. They used Blueacorn to funnel these PPP loan applications to lenders, and they used Blueacorn to get people loans when they did not qualify by forging documents and lying on applications. Hockridge mastered the PPP formula. She unlocked the safe. What the formula was simple. The government would loan small businesses 2.5 times their payroll, their monthly payroll, and in return, the concept is these employees wouldn't be fired. Remember, unemployment, we were skyrocketing toward 20%. Unfortunately, many people took advantage of it. As I write in my book, if I can do a shameless plug, easy money, hard time. When borrowers didn't qualify, she altered the data. And this is again from the prosecutor's opening statement. She knew how to doctor an application to make it look like they qualified for maximum loan amounts. $20,832 is a magic number in our industry. And the reason why is for a single sole proprietorship, the government in their round 2 of PPP funding allowed sole proprietors who did not have employees to qualify for these loans. And by the way, these loans with supporting documentation were forgiven. So that's why you see a lot of this free money, easy money bantered around. A single person business with 100,000 income on their Schedule C could qualify for the $20,382. The program is rife with those numbers, and it's pretty amazing. The SBA is not stupid. The auditor is not stupid. The government is not stupid. To qualify for the amount, your Schedule C income, now I'm not talking revenues, I'm talking net income, had to be exactly $100,000. So that right there is a red flag. She did this across file after a file. Quote, you will see that number over and over, $20,832. It became her signature pattern for Blueacorn submissions. The other sweet spot was $145,000. For larger applications, she built a second model. She and her husband understood that loans under $150,000 wouldn't get audited. So therefore, all these loans for $145,000. And what was the formula? Well, for $145,000 loan, you needed 7 employees. Each were paid a flat $100,000. The documentation were forged federal income tax forms, fabricated payroll summaries, and also fraudulent bank statements to show those amounts. Quote, a loan they thought no one would care to check. The details were uniform because Hockridge standardized them. When borrowers lacked proof, Hockridge produced it. They would produce fake forms, falsified payroll reports, and forged bank statements. This was a Photoshop factory. Each fraudulent company had its own name, their own employment EIN number, which is the tax number, the address, often taken from dormant entities, enough to survive lender verification. There were 2 ways that Blueacorn got their money. Number one is SBA had a percentage that it would pay above and beyond the loan amount that went to the lender to process these loans. That was the inducement to cover the lender's substantial servicing cost in processing all these transactions and getting them out to Main Street fast. And again, I've said this before. The key and PPP was a huge success because it moved quickly. That prevented small businesses from shuttering and employees from being unemployed. But they did something else. They took kickbacks from the borrowers in the range of 10 to 20%, clearly against SBA and the program regulations. And they did this because they were pitching, this is free money, you never have to pay it back. We just want our processing fee to help you get the free money. And a lot of these businesses went along with it simply because they didn't know the rules. They weren't committing fraud by paying the kickback. They assumed that was part of the normal, you go to you buy a house and you pay a loan fee. They charged a loan fee. The government emphasized this was permitted. On witness stand, the witness said absolutely not. That is not available. So the $1 billion, though, was not enough. They also got fraudulent PPP loans for their own companies. And the greed just is mind-boggling that they would do this. In fact, Nathan Reese was convicted of that he claimed he was a veteran-owned business for his PPP loan, and he wouldn't do that. Coaching. The attorney said Hockridge personally trained her agents. She coached them on the art of the lie. She sent them sample files showing exactly how to prepare the fraudulent documents. She would send them a document and say, hey, make what you're doing look more and more like this. She instructed them to input numbers that maximize loan amounts. She taught them how to put in the right numbers to maximize the loans, even though those numbers were lying. And why did she want to maximize that? The higher the loan, the more of a processing fee that she got from the SBA. To ensure consistency, she created checklists, scripts, and templates so every application had the same professional appearance. Ms. Carr ended. Ms. Hockridge and her co-conspirators got fraudulent PPP loans for themselves and others. They lied to get money. It's really that simple. Nathan Reese called her the keys to the kingdom. The government said she knew every lock in the system and how to open each one. We will follow up on this. I'm going to be doing a more and more series based on the trial testimony. Fascinating story of greed and of criminals who were caught. Thank you. I'm Bob Coleman. Thank you for joining me for Fraud Friday.